In the mist-covered mountains of central China, where dense bamboo forests climb steep valleys and clouds drift slowly between ancient trees, lives one of the most unusual bears on Earth. The giant panda moves quietly through this green world, its black and white coat standing in striking contrast against the endless sea of bamboo leaves. To many people around the world, the panda represents peace, gentleness, and the fragile beauty of wildlife. Yet beneath this calm image lies a story shaped by millions of years of evolution, adaptation, and survival in one of the most specialized ecological niches any large mammal has ever occupied. The giant panda belongs to the bear family, Ursidae, a group of animals known for their strength, omnivorous diets, and wide geographic distribution. Most bears are flexible eaters. Brown bears, for example, consume fish, berries, roots, insects, and even large mammals. Black bears climb trees and forage widely across forests. Polar bears hunt seals across the Arctic ice. The panda, however, followed a very different evolutionary path. Instead of remaining a generalist predator or omnivore, it gradually transformed into a bamboo specialist. Millions of years ago, the ancestors of pandas roamed much larger regions of Asia. Fossil evidence suggests that early panda relatives lived across areas that are now southern China, Myanmar, and even parts of northern Vietnam. These ancient bears likely had diets far more diverse than modern pandas. But as climates shifted and forests changed, one particular food source began to dominate their environment: bamboo. Bamboo is one of the fastest growing plants on the planet. In the humid mountain regions of China, bamboo forests can expand rapidly, creating thick, nearly impenetrable green landscapes. For many animals, bamboo is not an easy food source. It is tough, fibrous, and relatively low in nutrients compared to fruits or meat. Digesting it requires specialized adaptations, both physical and behavioral. Over time, the panda lineage developed exactly those adaptations. Their jaws became stronger and broader. Their teeth evolved large, flat surfaces capable of crushing fibrous plant material. Perhaps most famously, pandas developed what scientists often call a false thumb. This structure is not a true thumb but an enlarged wrist bone that acts like an extra finger, allowing pandas to grasp bamboo stalks with surprising dexterity. With this evolutionary toolkit, pandas entered a lifestyle unlike that of any other bear. Instead of hunting or widely foraging, they became slow-moving specialists that spend the majority of their waking hours feeding. A single adult panda may eat up to 30 kilograms of bamboo every day. Because bamboo provides limited calories, pandas must eat constantly just to maintain their large body size. Despite this seemingly inefficient diet, the panda has become remarkably well adapted to its environment. Their powerful jaws slice through bamboo stems with ease. The digestive system processes large volumes of plant material. Their thick fur protects them from the cool mountain climate. Even their black and white coloration may play a role in camouflage within snowy forests and shadowed bamboo thickets. The panda's world is one of quiet rhythms. Early morning mist settles across the forest floor as bamboo leaves rustle in the wind. A panda slowly climbs a slope, selecting fresh shoots with deliberate care. It sits upright, grasping a stalk with its pseudo-thumb, and begins to chew methodically. Hours pass in this way, a steady cycle of feeding, resting, and feeding again. Yet this peaceful existence hides a fragile reality. Bamboo forests themselves are dynamic ecosystems. Different bamboo species grow, flower, and die in cycles that can span decades. When large areas of bamboo die simultaneously, animals that depend on them must migrate to new feeding grounds. In the past, pandas could roam across vast territories to find fresh forests. Today, however, human development has fragmented much of their habitat. Mountain roads, farms, and expanding cities have divided panda territory into isolated pockets. These separated habitats make it harder for pandas to migrate or find mates. For an animal that already reproduces slowly and depends heavily on specific food sources, such fragmentation presents a serious challenge. Yet the panda's story is not only one of vulnerability, it is also one of resilience and global cooperation. Over the past several decades, conservation efforts have transformed the panda into a symbol of environmental protection. Governments, scientists, and conservation organizations have worked together to protect bamboo forests, establish nature reserves, and monitor wild populations. Today, the giant panda stands as both a scientific marvel and a conservation success story. Its unique evolutionary path reveals how life can adapt in unexpected ways, transforming a member of the bear family into a quiet guardian of the bamboo forests. And deep within those forests, far from the noise of cities and human civilization, the panda continues its ancient routine, feeding slowly among the whispering bamboo, just as its ancestors have done for thousands of generations. In the quiet mountain forests where pandas live, time seems to move at a slower pace. The dense bamboo groves that dominate these landscapes create a world where sound travels softly, filtered through layers of leaves and stems. Sunlight reaches the forest floor only in scattered beams, illuminating patches of moss, fallen bamboo, and the occasional movement of wildlife passing silently through the undergrowth. It is here that the giant panda continues its life, slow, methodical, and deeply tied to the rhythms of the forest. Despite their calm appearance, pandas possess a powerful physical build that reflects their ancestry as true bears. An adult giant panda can weigh between 70 and 160 kilograms, with some large males exceeding even that. Their bodies are compact but strong, with broad shoulders and thick limbs designed for climbing and navigating rugged mountain terrain. Although they are not known for speed, pandas are surprisingly capable climbers, often ascending trees to rest, escape danger, or simply enjoy the safety of elevated branches. Their most remarkable anatomical adaptation, however, lies in the structure of their forelimbs. The panda's famous false thumb, an enlarged radial sesamoid bone near the wrist, allows the animal to grip bamboo stalks with remarkable precision. When feeding, a panda sits upright much like a human, holding bamboo in its paws while rotating the stalk and stripping away leaves or chewing through the outer layers to reach the softer inner fibers. This behavior is both practical and strangely expressive, giving pandas a distinctive feeding posture rarely seen in other large mammals. Feeding occupies the majority of a panda's daily life. Because bamboo contains relatively low nutritional value, pandas must consume enormous quantities to sustain themselves. A single day may involve more than 12 hours of continuous eating. Pandas select different parts of the bamboo plant depending on the season. In spring, they favor tender shoots that grow rapidly from the forest floor. During other seasons, they may consume leaves or tougher stalks, adjusting the diet according to availability. This specialization has created a delicate relationship between the panda and its environment. Bamboo species do not all grow in the same way. Many follow a cycle in which entire populations flower simultaneously and then die, sometimes across vast areas. These mass die-offs can leave entire mountainsides temporarily without bamboo. In ancient times, pandas responded by migrating across large territories in search of fresh forests. Today, habitat fragmentation can restrict these natural movements, making such events more dangerous for local populations. Yet the panda's behavior is not entirely passive. Though often portrayed as lazy, pandas are careful and deliberate animals, constantly assessing their surroundings. Their sense of smell plays a critical role in navigating the forest. Pandas use scent marking as their primary form of communication. By rubbing specialized scent glands located beneath the tail against trees, rocks, or bamboo stems, they leave chemical signals that can remain detectable for days or even weeks. These scent marks carry important information. They may reveal the identity of the panda, its reproductive condition, and the boundaries of its territory. In a world where individuals rarely meet face-to-face, scent communication forms the invisible network that connects the panda population. Unlike many other bear species, giant pandas are strongly solitary. Each adult typically occupies its own territory, with males covering larger areas that may overlap with the ranges of several females. Direct encounters are relatively rare outside the breeding season. When pandas do meet, interactions can vary from cautious observation to brief displays of dominance or avoidance. The panda's solitary lifestyle likely evolved as a response to its food source. Bamboo forests can support pandas only if individuals spread themselves across wide areas. Concentrations of many pandas in one place would quickly exhaust local resources. By maintaining separate territories, pandas reduce competition and allow bamboo stands time to regenerate. Still, life in the mountains is not entirely peaceful. While adult pandas have few natural predators due to their size and strength, younger individuals face greater risks. Leopard populations in certain regions may occasionally prey on panda cubs or juveniles. Golden eagles have also been known to attack very young cubs if left unprotected. The greatest dangers, however, do not come from other animals. Human expansion into mountainous regions has reshaped much of the panda's historical range. Roads carved through forests, farms replace bamboo groves, and towns expand into once isolated valleys. These changes do more than simply reduce habitat, they divide ecosystems into smaller fragments, making it harder for animals to move between them. For pandas, whose survival depends on continuous bamboo forests, fragmentation can isolate populations that once freely intermingled. Over time, such isolation may reduce genetic diversity, making populations more vulnerable to disease or environmental change. Despite these challenges, pandas have demonstrated remarkable resilience. Conservation programs established throughout China have worked to restore bamboo forests and reconnect fragmented habitats through protected corridors. Today, dozens of nature reserves form a network designed specifically to safeguard panda populations and the ecosystems they depend on. Within these reserves, scientists monitor panda movements using camera traps, satellite tracking collars, and genetic analysis of fur and droppings. Each new discovery adds to our understanding of how pandas navigate their environment, choose feeding areas, and interact with neighboring individuals. These studies have revealed that pandas are far more dynamic than once believed. Some individuals travel significant distances across mountainous terrain, exploring new feeding grounds and occasionally crossing between different habitat zones. Such movements are vital for maintaining healthy populations and ensuring long-term survival. Meanwhile, the bamboo forests themselves continue their ancient cycles of growth and renewal. Young shoots emerge after spring rains, dense groves sway in mountain winds, and somewhere within this living maze of green stems and leaves, a panda continues its patient search for the next meal, an activity that defines nearly every moment of its existence. The quiet life of the panda may appear simple, but within that simplicity lies a complex ecological balance shaped by evolution, environment, and survival. Understanding this balance reveals why protecting the panda means protecting far more than a single species. It means preserving entire mountain ecosystems that support countless forms of life. And as the mist rises once again over the forests of Sichuan, Shaanxi, and Gansu, the slow movements of a feeding panda remind us that nature often moves at its own pace, steady, deliberate, and deeply connected to the rhythms of the earth. In the high mountain ranges of central China, where ancient forests blanket steep valleys and shifting clouds move slowly across the ridgelines, the quiet life of the giant panda continues through cycles that have shaped its species for millions of years. While much of a panda's daily existence revolves around feeding and conserving energy, there is another chapter in its life story that is far more delicate and uncertain: reproduction. For an animal so widely loved around the world, the giant panda's ability to reproduce is surprisingly fragile, and the survival of each new generation often depends on a narrow window of time and a series of precise biological events. Unlike many mammals that have long breeding seasons, female pandas are fertile for only a very short period each year. In most cases, this window lasts just 2 or 3 days. During this brief moment, scent signals that have quietly marked the forest for weeks suddenly gain importance. Males begin to follow the scent trails of receptive females, sometimes traveling long distances across steep terrain in search of a potential mate. The normally solitary lifestyle of pandas briefly changes as individuals encounter one another in the forest. When multiple males locate the same female, competition may occur. Although pandas are generally peaceful animals, these moments can lead to displays of strength. Males may vocalize loudly, climb trees, or engage in brief physical confrontations to establish dominance. These interactions rarely result in serious injury, but they determine which male will have the opportunity to mate. Once mating occurs, however, the story is far from complete. Panda reproduction involves a fascinating biological phenomenon known as delayed implantation. After fertilization, the embryo does not immediately attach to the wall of the uterus. Instead, it may remain dormant for several weeks or even months before development truly begins. Scientists believe this mechanism allows the female's body to synchronize pregnancy with environmental conditions, ensuring that cubs are born during seasons when bamboo and other resources are more abundant. When development finally begins, the gestation period itself is relatively short compared to the size of the mother. The birth of a panda cub is one of the most extraordinary events in the mammal world. A newborn panda is astonishingly small, typically weighing around 100 grams, less than 1,000th of the mother's body weight. In comparison, a human baby is roughly 1/20th the size of its mother at birth. The panda cub, blind, hairless, and completely helpless, represents one of the most extreme size differences between mother and offspring among all placental mammals. At birth, the cub is pink, fragile, and barely able to move. Its tiny body emits faint squeaks that guide the mother's attention. For the next several months, the cub will depend entirely on her warmth, protection, and milk. The mother cradles the cub against her chest, rarely leaving it unattended during the earliest stages of life. In the wild, panda mothers often give birth to twins. Yet nature presents a difficult challenge in this situation. Because a panda cub requires constant care and nourishment, the mother typically focuses her attention on only one of the newborns. The stronger cub usually survives, while the other may not receive the necessary care. This harsh reality is part of the evolutionary balance that has shaped panda reproduction for thousands of generations. Inside the safety of a quiet den, often located in hollow trees, rocky crevices, or natural caves, the cub slowly begins to grow. After about 1 week, its distinctive black and white markings begin to appear. The small patches around its eyes and limbs gradually darken, revealing the iconic pattern that makes the giant panda instantly recognizable around the world. Weeks pass before the cub's eyes finally open. Even then, its movements remain unsteady. The early months of life are spent almost entirely within the den, protected by the mother's constant presence. During this time, the mother dramatically reduces her own feeding activity. She may go days or even weeks without leaving the den, relying on stored body fat to sustain herself while she cares for the newborn. Eventually, the cub begins to crawl, exploring the den with curious but clumsy movements. Its fur thickens, its body strengthens, and its awareness of the surrounding world slowly expands. By the time it reaches 3 months of age, the cub may begin to venture outside the den under the watchful eyes of its mother. The mountain forest becomes its classroom. Here, among bamboo stalks and moss-covered stones, the young panda learns the essential skills of survival. It observes the mother's feeding behavior, experiments with grasping bamboo stems, and practices climbing trees with playful enthusiasm. At first, these attempts are awkward, but over time the cub develops the strength and coordination that will one day allow it to live independently. Mother pandas are patient teachers. They guide their cubs through the forest, selecting feeding areas and demonstrating how to identify the most nutritious bamboo shoots. Cubs often follow closely behind, tumbling through the undergrowth or clinging to their mother's fur during rest periods. This close bond can last for more than a year and sometimes up to 2 years. During this period, the cub continues to grow rapidly. Its once fragile body transforms into the powerful frame of a young bear. The playful curiosity of early life gradually gives way to the independence required for survival. Eventually, the time comes when the young panda must leave its mother's territory. This moment marks the beginning of a solitary journey. The forest that once seemed vast and mysterious now becomes the young panda's home. It must locate its own feeding grounds, establish its own range, and learn to navigate the challenges of life in the mountains. Not all cubs survive this transition. The wild is filled with uncertainties, and young animals face many obstacles. Yet those that succeed become the next generation of pandas, continuing a lineage that has endured for millions of years. For scientists and conservationists, each surviving cub represents hope. Monitoring programs in China track panda populations carefully, using camera traps, genetic sampling, and advanced technologies to estimate population sizes and movements. These studies have revealed encouraging signs that panda numbers are slowly increasing in protected areas. The giant panda's reproduction may be slow and delicate, but it is also a testament to the resilience of life. Each cub that emerges from a mountain den carries within it the story of an ancient species, one that has adapted, survived, and endured through changing climates, shifting landscapes, and the pressures of a rapidly developing world. And as another young panda takes its first uncertain steps through the bamboo forest, the cycle of life begins again, quietly, patiently, and in harmony with the ancient rhythms of the mountains. High above the sprawling plains and river valleys of central China, the mountain forests where pandas live have long served as quiet sanctuaries for countless species. Within these layered ecosystems, bamboo forests stretch across slopes and valleys, creating habitats that support birds, insects, amphibians, and mammals that share the same environment as the giant panda. Though the panda often appears as a solitary and peaceful creature quietly feeding among the bamboo, its presence plays a subtle but meaningful role in maintaining the ecological balance of these mountains. By consuming vast amounts of bamboo each day, pandas indirectly influence how bamboo forests grow and regenerate. Their feeding patterns create small clearings within dense bamboo thickets, allowing sunlight to reach the forest floor. These openings create opportunities for new bamboo shoots and other plant species to grow, adding diversity to the vegetation structure of the forest. In this way, the panda becomes part of a quiet cycle of renewal that shapes the landscape around it. Pandas also act as natural seed carriers. Although bamboo forms the majority of the diet, they occasionally consume fruits, grasses, and other plant material when available. Seeds from these plants may pass through the digestive system and be deposited in different parts of the forest, contributing to plant distribution across mountain habitats. This role may seem small compared to large herbivores like elephants, but within the panda's ecosystem it still contributes to long-term forest diversity. The forests themselves provide a protective shield against environmental change. Thick vegetation stabilizes mountain soil, reduces erosion during heavy rainfall, and helps regulate water flow into rivers that support millions of people downstream. Protecting panda habitats therefore protects far more than a single species. Entire watersheds, forests, and wildlife communities benefit from conservation measures designed to safeguard these landscapes. For much of the 20th century, however, these habitats faced growing threats. Expanding agriculture pushed deeper into mountainous regions. Logging removed large areas of forest. Infrastructure projects such as roads and railways carved through once continuous wilderness. As a result, panda populations declined sharply, and by the late 20th century the giant panda had become one of the most endangered large mammals on Earth. Concern for the species grew rapidly around the world. The giant panda, with its distinctive appearance and gentle reputation, captured the global imagination. It soon became the official symbol of the Worldwide Fund for Nature, an international conservation organization dedicated to protecting wildlife and natural ecosystems. This powerful symbol helped draw attention to the urgent need for panda conservation. China responded by launching one of the most ambitious wildlife protection programs ever created for a single species. Over several decades, large sections of panda habitat were designated as protected nature reserves. Logging bans were introduced in key mountain regions, allowing forests to regenerate. Scientific research expanded dramatically, giving biologists a clearer understanding of panda behavior, habitat needs, and population dynamics. Conservationists also began working on habitat corridors, protected strips of forest designed to reconnect fragmented panda territories. These corridors allow pandas to move safely between mountain ranges, find mates, and maintain healthy genetic diversity. In some regions where populations were previously isolated, such corridors have already allowed individuals to migrate into new areas, strengthening the overall resilience of the species. Captive breeding programs also played a role in panda conservation, though their purpose has often been misunderstood. Early efforts struggled due to the panda's complex reproductive biology, but improved scientific understanding eventually led to successful breeding programs in specialized research centers. These programs help maintain genetic diversity and provide valuable insight into panda biology, behavior, and health. Perhaps the most encouraging development has been the gradual recovery of wild panda populations. Modern surveys using camera traps and genetic analysis have revealed that the number of wild pandas has slowly increased over recent decades. As a result, the conservation status of the giant panda has improved from endangered to vulnerable, a rare and remarkable achievement in the world of wildlife conservation. Yet success does not mean the story is over. Climate change presents new challenges for bamboo forests. Rising temperatures may shift the ranges where bamboo can grow, potentially forcing pandas to move to higher elevations. Continued human development also requires careful planning to ensure that wildlife corridors remain intact. The future of the panda depends on maintaining the delicate relationship between forests, bamboo, and the animals that depend on them. Conservation programs now focus not only on protecting individual animals but also on preserving entire ecosystems capable of supporting pandas for generations to come. Despite these challenges, the panda remains one of nature's most powerful symbols of hope. Few species have inspired such widespread cooperation between governments, scientists, and international organizations. The panda's story demonstrates that when humans commit to protecting wildlife and restoring ecosystems, meaningful recovery is possible. In the quiet bamboo forests where mist drifts between towering mountains, the giant panda continues its slow and deliberate life. It feeds, rests, wanders through the forest, and occasionally climbs into trees to watch the world from above. Its existence may seem simple, but it reflects a complex balance shaped by evolution, ecology, and the careful stewardship of the natural world. Generations of pandas have walked these mountains long before modern cities rose in distant valleys. They have endured shifting climates, ancient predators, and the slow transformation of landscapes across thousands of years. Today, thanks to determined conservation efforts, the panda still remains a living part of these forests rather than a memory preserved only in books and photographs. As the evening light fades across the bamboo slopes and the forest settles into silence, a panda continues its patient search for the next bamboo shoot. Its black and white figure moves quietly through the green shadows, carrying with it the legacy of a species that has become far more than an animal. It has become a reminder that the fate of wildlife and the fate of the natural world are inseparable. And as long as bamboo forests continue to grow across the mountains of China, the story of the giant panda will continue as well, slowly unfolding in the quiet rhythm of leaves, wind, and time itself.